right.
We could go live in the metaverse because in the metaverse, nothing. It doesn't matter in the metaverse. In the metaverse, everything is beautiful.
Yes, it's it's like
the ultimate. It's like what was the book? I forget the book about with Soma, where the government was giving out basically drugging everyone. It wasn't 1984. I forget. It was Aldous Huxley who was the author.
But
it's Soma. The metaverse is Soma. Someone will tell me the name of the book. I forgot it.
Ready Player One?
No.
Okay. I mean, so look, this is if you ever read The Creature from Jekyll Island, which I've recommended many times, okay, you will see that many of the things that he wrote about 25 years ago are coming to pass. Okay. And look, again, we're not here to condemn but just saying these are simple facts of an economy. Okay. You cannot.
Brave New World.
I got
That's the name of the book, Aldous Huxley. Everyone was drugged. It's the metaverse.
We're in the metaverse. At least that's where the new Walmart greeter is, in the metaverse.
Welcome to Target.
Yeah, right. You like that one, huh?
That was funny.
Like I said, we're long. So as much as I'm whining and complaining about what they're doing, which I am, and I don't like it, and I don't think that it has. I do not think it bodes well for the future, except if you want to have universal basic income, if you want to have every movement you make tracked for the rest of your life, okay, then it's a good thing. Okay. But if you want freedom, which they've slowly taken away brick by brick, okay, you're not getting it. You're getting less of it, and you got to smile about it as well. What do you say, Chief?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. How do you tax mark-to-market gains?
Oh, Jesus.
How do you do that? How does that work?
You got to tax you daily.
Could you explain that to me? And how often do you tax it? And when do you freeze it? And here's the question that I know the answer to. What's the effect on the stock market?
Oh, well, gee, I wonder.
Holy.
Listen, I used to have to do some marking myself when I was carrying big positions on the floor. I had to stand by the key puncher for the last trade. But look, this is so ridiculous. The stuff that they're even asking you to do, okay, it can only create destruction. This started not necessarily as crazy as it is right now, but back when we were on the trading floor, they wanted to say, well, why don't you pay, a tax for every trade, like 2 cents a trade. And I go, you think, we'll go broke trading 2 cents a trade.
That's Liz Warren's. She still wants that.
Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me? 2 cents a trade, make 50,000 trades a day. How much money is that? I mean, they talk like they have a clue. They only know the free market, that they get inside information, they get to make a purchase or a sale. That's what they know from free markets.
Okay. They don't understand. I mean, the classic example is Bernie Sanders, who used to scream and yell when he didn't get as much of a spotlight now that he gets now. He used to scream and yell about oil prices when they were going up, that they were manipulated up, but he never said a peep when they were crashing lower. About manipulation, and they're manipulated up as much as they're manipulated down. And so they just don't. And the moral to the story is they don't understand. They don't get it. They don't understand economics and markets, and they don't understand.
Well, neither the economists. So there you go.
Well, Larry Summers, by the way, Larry Summers is a guy who's showing incredible kind of rebirth of understanding what's going on.
I agree, and we talked about that last week. But let me ask you a question. And then seriously, listen, you're educated. You were in the mainstream. You weren't just for yourself. How many economists do you know that really have a clue of what's going on and will admit to it?
Most of the economists I know with that PhD comes a big ego, and most of them I know they know better. They know better. I told you about my friend Dr. Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, of course.
Worked for me, I had to fire him. He didn't know what he was doing. And the market. By the way, the one thing, the market is never right. They're right. That's where they fall apart. And by the way, the guys at the Fed suffer from the same thing, because if they really paid attention to the markets, they would know that they're wrong. They would adjust. They don't pay attention. And by the way, Bubba, the markets are the best real-time indicator of what's going on. I mean, they're always moving. They're always telling you what sentiment is. And sentiment is what drives everything. It's what drives our consumer products, what's popular on TV, why don't they understand? They're social scientists. Why don't they understand that the markets are a real-time indicator of what they should be doing?
Because they're ignorant.
Right, they are. They're ignorant.
How's that?
No, because they're pompous. It's
Well,
more goes beyond ignorance.
besides
They're
being pompous assholes, they're also ignorant because they refuse to see.
No, because the market's wrong. The market's wrong.
Well, the market's always wrong.
The market's wrong. It's bottlenecks. It's transitory. There was a really good piece in Barron's over the weekend. I don't know if anyone saw it. That compared. It said that dinosaurs were transitory too, but they did a lot of damage in their day.
Right. Yeah, the transitory was what time frame? Yeah,
Exactly.
next billion years. Okay.
Exactly. Anywhere from 10 seconds to a billion years.
I mean, come on, are you kidding me? By the way, do you have any bitches today, my friend?
I could not bitch about anything. My two beautiful granddaughters.
Okay.
You know what? I will tell you, at this point, there are points in your life where you say things can't get much better. This is one of those. How's that?
Yeah, I get that.
Nothing could annoy me. How's that?
I could annoy you.
No.
I could get you in about 3 seconds, but I would never. I would never rain on your parade, though.
No, you can't.
I'm happy for
I mean,
you.
listen, there's a lot of things going on that I'm not happy about, but
Right. Well, I'm sure, but again, it's all good. You don't have to have a bitch.
I don't have a bitch. I don't have a bitch. I'm just, I'm living in my own personal metaverse. How's that?
No, and indeed you are.
This metaverse is something. Listen, I thought in 2010 that Bitcoin was an arcade game and the tokens were like about as useful as the stuff you got for skee ball when you were a kid and you could buy get a stuffed animal with them. So I was dead wrong about that. And maybe I'll be dead wrong about the metaverse, but to me, I like living in the real world. I'm a realist. And this metaverse is just like a giant drug for society. And it's going to make a lot of money for technology companies. So if I have to bitch about anything, when Zuckerberg and the rest of them talk about the future and the metaverse and how we can be inside the internet rather than looking inside the internet, I say, why do you want to live in a fantasy? Live in a real world, for better or for worse.
Listen, I tell you, I don't know. It's very frustrating. But it's not frustrating for the Braves fans, right? Georgia boy lives in Japan.
Oh, that's a good story.
They're gonna win.
Not for the network. Not for the networks. The networks would have loved Dodgers, Red Sox. They got Houston Braves.
Or Dodgers Astros would have been the rematch of the cheaters.
Right.
But they got the worst to draw. Good for them. Screw them. Okay, but they're going to win. I bet the Braves. Whether they're going to win or not, I don't know. But I think they're going to win. Okay, and I do think Georgia's going to win that championship.
The kid on that team is great. I forget his name. Austin Riley, is it?
Austin Riley. Listen, they got Freddie Freeman. They got Max Fried. They got a lot of guys. They got a lot of studs there, and they're doing it all without their number one stud, Acuna.
Listen, they got a great history. Listen, they had some great pitching. They had Smoltz and Glavin and Maddox. And
Maddox was a Chicago boy, but yeah, I get it. Listen,
they had Hank Aaron. I mean, they have a great history, the Braves.
They've always had.
How are they still letting them call them the Braves? Why aren't they called the Atlanta baseball team?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And they have a great history of holding on to their managers, Bobby Cox and now Snitker.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so you ready, KB? I'm ready to start giving some quotes up. Okay, I didn't leave him for dead ever. I told you I was betting him. Okay, and I got Freddie Freeman to win the MVP. He's not, but I bet him. Anyway, okay, so the dollar, okay, which we are still long, it's really just churning around. And again, you get into these conversations about the dollar and what it means for exports and all this other stuff. Why a lower dollar means anything, for exports, why it makes it cheaper. To me, it never added up. Okay. But I get into this conversation all the time. I go, you know what? If somebody needs the product, they're going to pay the price to get it. Okay. And if there's a shortage of grains, they're going to pay for them, whatever the price is. They got to feed their people.
It's a mirage. The dollar index is a mirage. The bottom line is all of these currencies are losing money, losing value, and the dollar is still the reserve currency of the world. But the dollar might go a lot higher, but it'll still lose value at the same time, because inflation is not just a U.S. thing here; it's global.
Right. So anyway, the dollar is 93.50 to 94. We're long. Okay. And again, look, it's not a great trading vehicle unless you're carrying a position as we do. I would not ever, out of all the currencies to trade, this would not be one I would recommend as a day trading vehicle. Okay. And the euro currency continues obviously almost in the identical pattern as the dollar, except to the downside. Okay. Now it has a couple of rushes up, but it remains, and we remain short. Okay.
Bearish reversal today.
I'm sorry, what, babe?
Bearish reversal today.
Yeah. So, we remain short, and again, it is certainly in a downtrending phase here. Now, again,
by the way, that's the last thing I know you don't subscribe to these reversals so much, but I will say, when bullish or bearish reversals occur at the top or the bottom, they tend to follow through.
Listen, I don't. It's not that I talk about them. I know what they are, but I've never really seen. No, I don't really trade that way either. I understand though, and again, I mention them when I see them. Of course, I mean,
because everyone looks at the same chart and they say, "Oh, blah, I'm bearish on it anyway. Let me hammer this thing down. We'll see what happens tomorrow."
So yeah, I mean, look, well, again, right now, we know one thing for sure: all currencies are nothing but big options that continue to decay because the central banks keep screwing with them, and each time they manipulate them a little bit and they churn them a little bit, they lose a little bit of value.
Yep.
Your spending power gets reduced.
Yep.
Okay. In the meantime, right for today, we're going to call 115.50 to 116.50, 115.50 to 116.50. Okay. And Bitcoin, as we said, would make new highs, and it did on Tuesday. Okay. Actually, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. Came right down to some support. Okay. Again, all of this talk, all this crap that goes on, whether they try to regulate or whatever, is only fuel for cryptocurrencies in general, in my opinion, because the more they try to regulate, the more it pushes people that may not even be interested in the crypto world to look into it, because I think people are tired, that have a clue, are tired of watching everything they have get devalued while it sits in their pocket. What say you, Chief?
They're great inflation barometers, and that's what's going on here. I mean, they are inflation barometers because they are, they reflect their limited supply.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it?
I agree. Listen, I agree. Listen, there's nothing better than a product that has a limited supply that can trade back and forth freely versus having something able to add more to it because they decided that they need, this whole philosophy. And this is not, and by the way, this is not just the Biden administration. This goes back at least 50 years.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question. How is a currency, a fiat currency, any different than a leveraged ETF product?
None.
Right.
Worse, because it's worse because the criminals do it for their benefit because they know that we have to pay the bill either way.
We're getting reverse splits in these the values of these on a daily basis, really.
Yep. Indeed.
I mean, but they're decimal, they're very small, but they add up over time.
Well, just take a look at the value of your dollar.
Not only do they add up, but they compound over time.
I mean, I always use my own parents as an example of the whole situation of what's happened. And you can't do, you cannot, a young family cannot have a family without, it does have both parties working. It cannot afford to live anywhere without two paychecks anymore. Terrible. Anyways, 60,000 should be some support, but it would be no surprise to see it come to 52, but 60 and again, new highs. I mean, 60 to 68 for now.
Yeah.
We're still long it. Okay. And cocoa. Okay. Cocoa popped. It takes some hard selling and had a little bit of a pop. Now we're still short cocoa. I don't think it's going to change. To me, if I were looking at it, this looks, if it goes through here, then it may be getting ready, but it kind of, backwardsly held maybe this bigger support level. We'll see. Again, these are,
be careful in cocoa, because the biggest volatility comes around the roll periods. Cocoa rolls first. It's going to roll from December to March, very, very soon. And that's where we get wild volatility in cocoa.
right. And besides the fact that they trade in the middle of the night when nobody's up, and most of us wouldn't even look at it because unless we were in it. So, and of course, crude continues, it did have a little bit of reversal today, but look at it got up to what, 86 almost, 85.41.
Yeah.
85.40. I mean, we're not surprised. We've talked about this for a year.
By the way, more importantly, Brent got up to 86.70, and the breakout level in Brent is the 2018 high at 86.74. So, that's coming up to a very important technical level. And Brent is the pricing mechanism for 2/3 of the world's crude oil. So in a lot of ways, Brent is a much larger market. And Brent really starts taking off. WTI is going to follow.
Oh, this is going, listen, I'm convinced we're going to see well more than 100.
Oh, I agree. The next technical resistance level is up at about 107.
I mean, you got, the sad part, now this is the Biden administration problem. Okay. This is their fault.
This is 100%. They have ownership of this.
They could easily resume fracking and shale producing and erase this problem, which would save everybody money, which would make everybody a lot more money, and people would
bring inflation down.
But God forbid they would ever do the right thing. Again, our 3.5 to 4% of the world is going to change the entire world's population.
Right. By the way, they say that climate change is an existential threat. I will say that their energy policy is an existential threat.
I always ask the question: at what cost is? And this is at a dramatic cost, and this could be the destruction of everything that we all worked for our whole lives.
Right.
Okay. In the meantime, it's going up. Obviously, we're still long. I would say 80, and again 80 to 86, but I'm not shorting it. I mean, I might short it for 10 minutes, but I'm not carrying a short position, as I don't care until they turn them pumps back on again. I'm not shorting this thing because it's going higher.
Energy, crude oil is still the energy commodity that powers the world. People don't realize.
Really? You're kidding? Really?
Go stand up here, do an experiment. Go stand at a street corner and count the number of Teslas and other electric vehicles, and tell me what the ratio is to the number of gasoline powered vehicles. Get your answer.
99.8% is still energy. It's still fossil fuels, and that's not going to. You cannot change it that fast. And I get news for you: 20 years from now, I don't care what mandates, there's still going to be a big percentage of gas cars driving around.
China made a lot of noise. You know what they're doing now? They're stepping up coal production. So is India.
Because they got none. They're in trouble.
Right.
That's another issue. And look,
it's all fossil. It's all the fossil. Look at what natural gas did. I mean, it's all the same.
It's so ridiculous. The EVs are coal power cars because of so much electricity from country. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Look, like I said, it is what it is, but this is definitely on this administration and their ignorance to fight the battle, which would help the world.
They own this. They really, Bubba, they own this.
Right. Yeah. Not just the United States of America, but the rest of the world is dying for energy. The UK is and they're going to have a dark, cold winter. I'll tell you right now. Okay.
Oh, I remember living there. I used to have to put like 50 pence coins in to get the.
I remember when I went
to, and it's cold there, man. It's cold and damp in
right.
the UK. And London is the warmest place, and it's cold and damp. You go up north, it's worse.
I know.
The bottom line, it's going to be a real rough winter over there.
It's criminal. That's like.
And here he comes on his horse with no shirt on, and here it's Mr. Putin to the rescue.
No, naturally, because they're going to make a fortune, right. and gouge, and when we could be paying off our debt. Okay, and producing, but of course they would steal the money anyway. So there you have it, 80 to 86. Anyways, cotton, look, it's kind of in a range. We're still short. It's in this it's in this position now where a big move is coming one way or the other. And obviously, based on our position, I'm going to assume it's down for now. But it has had a fairly dramatic move since I called the top before we actually changed the signal. But I could see the over explosion to the upside. But now, again, it could build a base here. There's nothing that says it won't build a base. So we're going to really see probably in the next couple of days. This is not another product that isn't feeble, right? It's going to move pretty dramatically in one direction.
It's going to move. There's no question about it.
So we don't give
up. But
up.
it starts to move. You got to go with it.
Yeah, 100%. Gold now, interesting. Okay, now Friday was really interesting. Of course, once again, Jerome Powell stepped on his schmuck and caused a quick sell-off, and gold was up about $30 at the time, and then came all the way back down to cut up more than half the gains. We gained a big percentage of those back today. To me, the next level in gold to watch is 1820. We're long. Okay. And, I think we have a chance to break big to the upside.
Yeah, 1839 is the key level on the upside.
Yeah, that's 1840, right? Okay. So, look, I think that we have a chance to break up to the upside big. Okay. But I don't make those kind of predictions. To me, I can only look at the market one level at a time, and the next level is 1820. 1820 goes to 1840 and so on up the curve to 1860, 1880, and we can get to the 1900s. First, you got to get through 1820 and 1839.
Exactly.
What was it?
That's exactly right. You got to get to 1820 before you get to 1900.
Yeah, I'm a racist.
People forget that. Right. People forget that. Hey, let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
So Dorsey said we're going to have hyperinflation. Mm-hmm. And Janet Yellen said we're not going to have. It's transitory. Who would you go with?
So Dorsey is much smarter.
Much smarter.
Okay. And he's dead right. And he's prepared for it. And many of those guys are prepared for it because, listen, it doesn't hurt them. Okay. And when you're a billionaire, those things don't hurt you. They actually help you. They help you accumulate more assets at cheaper prices when people have to be forced to sell them. Right. It's a very mixed up world that this new leftist party has created.
But that's socialism. The ruling class always does the best.
Right. Well, that's what listen. They talk about supposedly the party for the small, but they're really the party for the uber rich.
When I was working on Wall Street in the 80s, and I would travel to Russia before the Iron Curtain came down, and I would meet with the government officials and be entertained by them and so on and so forth. They lived a very privileged life. But then when I would drive to the airport in a cab, I would see people lined up for toilet paper and people living impoverished. And that's socialism.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Venezuela, baby, at one time was the world's richest country in the world.
And it should be. They have the biggest oil reserves in the world.
I understand, but they stole all the money.
Right.
Again.
They made off with the money.
I paid $82 for gas, unreal 4-year high, and I am a racist. How many Jews that came through integration, they're racist. I was a victim of much racism. Okay, only my 6'3" blonde hair and blue eyes got me through some of it. But you're always a racist. Whatever, if you don't agree, you're a racist. Okay. In the meantime, feeder cattle, little pop today.
Well, you're an insurgent, an insurrectionist.
Yeah, I'm a troublemaker. I give to everybody. I want, I was brought up in a home. First of all, my parents had to elope because my mom wasn't Jewish back in those days. Okay. And she converted. Okay. And she's the one who made me get bar mitzvah. But, I've been through it. I've been through the hate. I've had it, used on me many times, and I was always very welcoming. And as I said, in third grade is when I went through integration into the school system, and I never had a problem. Okay, played sports, never had a problem. But now everybody's a racist. Okay, it's amazing. Feeders, we're still short. They look kind of weak, but again, they're holding, which is the only positive sign I can say is they're holding, around the 155 level. I mean, they looked like they could get some traction today, but they failed again. So we'll see. We remain short. Hogs remain short, and of course they continue to be weak, but weak within a range. Again, if they break below, I think if they go below 72, you better duck. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's pretty critical area of support. We're in the off season for demand, but this is not a year like any other year. Inflation doesn't discriminate. The prices of everything goes up, so you got to be careful.
Andy, have you ever been to Denmark or Scandinavian socialist countries?
I have. I've been in Denmark. I've been in Norway. I've been in Sweden. I've been in Finland. So I've been all over there. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I have not.
You know, you have models there of countries. Maybe it worked for a brief period of time there, and you know, but the problem is that you have much smaller populations there. And I remember I did a lot of business in Stockholm with a company called Boliden, which was a big metals producer. And I remember my counterpart there, he told me, you know, he was paying 80% tax rate. 80%. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And been to Venezuela and Cuba. You're either
I've been
rich.
there too. I've been to Caracas and I've been to Havana. And you know what? That statement is very right. Either you're very rich or you're very poor. Either you got it all or you got nothing.
Believe it or not, I have family there.
There.
But I threw my passport away. I've never been
There in Scandinavia,
and I'll never be there.
You know, I will say one thing. It's a beautiful area of the world.
I know, but I'm not
It's
flying there.
beautiful. Stockholm is a gorgeous city, and Norway is a gorgeous country. It's beautiful. Denmark is it's beautiful. It is.
I fly back and forth between Las Vegas, Chicago. That's enough travel for me. Anyways, and copper, which we reversed today to short. I think we sold another rally a little bit. Again, it broke hard, which is obviously what triggered the signal. You know, there is some support just below. It needs to break through probably, you know, 447 to really confirm and go lower. But basically, if you just look at it from a bigger picture, which is what makes it good and bad, is it's really been churning between 4 and 480.
A lot of volatility there in that red metal.
So yes. Listen, you know what? There's beautiful women everywhere, and there's handsome men everywhere. I don't want to be racist or sexist.
You have to stay with the program, and you can't say men, women, and those who choose to whatever they want to be.
Screw them. Anyways, I mean, copper, to me, it's like 446 to 453. I don't know, and we're short. Okay, that's all I can tell you. You know, it's in that weird kind of spot in life, and it could run right back up, and it could fall apart. And you know, I think part of it is, you know, just what's going on in the overall economy. We know what China's done. Andy's told us that they had sold a bunch only to buy more. And what's your take on that now?
Yeah, I mean, they continue to sell. You know, they sold copper, aluminum, they sold zinc, they sold crude oil. All the prices went up when they were selling. Now they're selling coal. You know, they're fighting a losing battle here, but they're selling it to buy it because they're the ultimate consumers of all these things.
Right.
So, you know, I continue, you know, we follow trends, but when it comes to copper, I do think that we will see much higher prices over the coming years. Much higher.
Well, I agree with that. I think everything's going to be much higher because it's going to have to be much higher. Okay.
And it's only because the value of money is going down.
Money is going to the toilet. Exactly. Coffee continues to churn, but a little bit higher today. But again, look, coffee has peaked and held right in this $2 range. I mean, again, we're long and have been long for quite a while. And it looks to me it's like 2 to 215. It could break. Listen, coffee, like the rest of them, are very volatile. You know, the soft commodity business is extremely volatile to begin with. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think that coffee's going to $3, but it has to go to $2.15 before it goes to $3.
And there are so many things in the way of, you know, people talk about the metals manipulation, and nobody ever talks about the drug dealers that are in this coffee field and dealing with this as well. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but at the end of the day,
we used to buy at Phillip Brothers. We used to buy coffee from Colombia. It used to come up in ships, and they basically ship it like sugar a lot of times. Sometimes it would come in bags, but sometimes we get just beans.
right?
We get bags that had opened, and on 2 occasions when they were offloading the coffee at the port. I think it was in New Jersey, Jersey City or somewhere like that. I don't remember, or maybe the Brooklyn Navy Yard. They were unloading the bags, and there were bodies in the hull of the ship.
Yeah, I mean,
the cartel used the coffee ships because of the aroma of the beans. It was perfect place to hide the bodies.
exactly.
Right.
You know, that's what they used to use to smuggle drugs to coffee. So.
Right.
anyways, we're long and it looks pretty good. Lumber, which we watch, is kind of flattened out again, but again, obviously, we don't trade this, just to be clear, but came off the bottoms and is rallied and is now kind of mid-range between $7 and $8. Okay, look, we'll see where it goes from here. It's not, the product itself is untradeable, and I've never really found anything good enough.
What month are you looking at there?
Hell if I know. Whatever
November came down. November's trading at 660, but that's coming.
Whatever is considered the front month.
Yeah, it's the spring. Okay, big contango.
So either way, okay. Again, I've never find good enough to trade it, so to even represent it. I know Andy has a few that he follows, but if I'm going to trade this something that's just wild, I want the stock to look like this. This new what is it, DPAC or D whatever it's called, DWAC. What the hell is that one? DWAC. This is what I want. Stock that goes from $10 to 180 and now back to 85.
That looks like that stock's in the metaverse.
I mean, this is I don't know what I don't even know what it is actually, but in the meantime, live cattle or fat cattle, depending on how you know.
You were looking at January lumber.
Yeah.
Very interesting, by the way. The November January lumber spread. What is that? 60 days?
Yeah.
$100. $100.
Yeah.
$100. By the way, that is 15% of the price. That's a steep contango.
Oh, that's Trump social media. Okay. I knew it was something like that. I didn't know exactly, but the guys have been just writing about it the last few days in the chat room. But in the meantime, I did try to sell some call spreads. There's no options really to trade. I was trying to sell some spreads. But anyways, we're long this, and again, 125 held and is holding at 124. It looks a little bit better. And again, you can just look at the pattern between this and feeder cattle, and you can see that it looks a little bit more bullish to begin with. It's still really just a nasty consolidation, but it looks better. And natural gas, which we're short, obviously not a very good day today. And look at now again, we don't look at volume, but look at the volume. Okay, there's nothing in this natural gas chart that allows you to say, oh, that's a blow off, I can sell it. Okay, which means to me, it's probably going higher.
Monday nights are very scary. Mondays are very scary in natural gas. Look, the weather over the weekend, all these things can affect it. You see the biggest gaps coming out of a weekend in natural gas. I know it opened about 21 cents higher last night. It's always a wild time. If you track the price action, Mondays are crazy days.
I mean, it's a interesting action, and again, we'll see. I mean, right now we're short, and I don't think it'll change tonight, but it could. I don't know yet, but in the meantime, even if it doesn't change, $6 better be the top here. But of course, we went to 660 last week, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So right now, I'd look at this from 550 to 6, and OJ, which was pretty much flat, and we're still short, still in a downtrend, and this should be around 128. Which is where it hit last week, should be the tops if it's going to continue lower. If not, then it can reverse from in here somewhere as well. Okay. And, at the end of the day, the trend is down and you can clearly see it. We've been short for quite a while, and you'll see where it trades from here. But, 128 looks like a topish. Okay. Platinum, it has come up nicely off of that bottom. Remember, we talked about this every week, and we said that out of here was going to be a big move. Well, that's a pretty good move, $80.
Yeah,
$90.
Yeah. Platinum's got a great value proposition, but we'll see where the trend takes it. I mean, the trend right now is clearly higher.
Right. Okay. And I think if it can get through 1075, it's probably going to 1150. Okay. And again, as I tell you, I can only look at one level at a time. It'd be 1100. And then now we don't trade this as a group because it's not liquid enough. Anybody on their own?
We just
buy. I buy physical as you do all the time. Okay, but as a group, we can't trade it because it's not liquid. Okay, so but for those who are on your own, I would be long it. Okay, I do own it, but I mean it's certainly something to be long if you wanted to take it. But again, we can't do it because we would control the market. We don't want to do that. Okay, and sugar, had a little bit of a pop today. A natural area where it would pop from. We're still short, but of course that bounce does certainly, look like it could be, bottoming. The bottoms may be in here now. I don't, again, I'm not going to predict that, but I certainly could make a case for it that we're just at the bottom of the consolidation range. Okay. And you could certainly see, the change there. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, this is a very bullish pattern overall. But since we trade with trends, look, we try to take the meat out of these various moves over time. And, our goal is that the sum of the meat that we take out is greater than just buying it down here in March at, the 1450 level and riding it up to the 21 level. We feel you make more money by following the trends over time. But when it comes to sugar and oil are very similar to me. What happened in coffee, I see sugar, I think we'll be long again before too long in sugar.
It could be. Again, it looks to me like it could be, moving its way back up. Anyway, again, this is not, this is not the ugliest I've ever seen anything. So certainly, and I can see the lift off in the higher lows. So we'll see. In the meantime, right now, 19 to 1950, silver suddenly, and again, just like we said, would break one way or the other, and it broke to the upside.
I like what silver's doing. I think that's looking good. The ratio's coming down. It's ringing all the right bells for precious.
And the next big level is $25.
Right.
Okay. I mean, this is
right. Forget about 30. Concentrate on 25.
Right. I would make this, 24 to 25. Okay.
That's right. It always amazes me. You'll hear someone speak. Oh, they talk about $50 silver, $100 silver. I mean, look, where did it close today? It closed at 24.59.20. I say to myself, it's got to trade at 24.60 before it goes to the 100.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, and that's a fact. I mean, it's got to do, it's got to do one thing first. And
I mean, have I ever seen a market close at a level and then open at some ridiculous level above? Of course. But you know what? That is the big exception. It is not the norm. And silver isn't going to do that.
Listen, we've got to go. It's got to be one level at a time. $50 silver could get there. Okay. What's up there, brother? How you doing? I haven't seen you for a while. Certainly we can get the $50 silver, but right now, again, as you know, I keep telling you, I can only look at one level at a time. Okay. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way life is, right? I mean, it works. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, silver looks very good to me. It held, listen, we got down to 21.41. It held the technical support level on the long-term chart, which is 21.09.5. That was a good sign. The action lately has been very good. Silver also, it'll crawl, and then all of a sudden a huge move will come out of the blue. They come out of the blue.
Right.
I can see that happening. Look, long now, I would say that if we get a $2, $3 move in a day, it's going to be to the upside in this current trend.
What they do say is that markets don't announce themselves.
Right.
That's one thing we know for sure,
right? Right. They don't pull ahead.
So 24, 25, and
they pop in.
The bonds, we're short, and they bounce a little bit. Again, you would expect it to bounce from around there, and now you're consolidating down here. Now, again, is this going to be the sign of a breakout? This is where the battle on interest rates is going to take place. Okay.
The bonds have already spoken. They're already telling us that the Fed is dead wrong.
So this is what's going to happen, and we're going to see. So in the meantime, we're short. And I mean, for me, I'd be a big seller at 160. I think you're probably looking at 157, 156 to 160. It's a big range, but
whatever happens, I will tell you, at these interest rates, I'm so much more comfortable being short the bond market than long it. I'm just more comfortable because, to me, these interest rates and what's going on are ridiculous.
Yeah.
We look back to when we started in the business.
Right. Listen,
those were ridiculous the other way. This is ridiculous this way.
100%. Corn, look, we're long corn now. It's right up at the end of a red. It's right at look, it looks good and a bullish type pattern. Okay, it's got to break above 540, which has been my number the whole time. Okay, we were stuck between 520 and 540. If we can get through, we can see some real movement. If we don't, and again, this trading has been, very challenging. I think they ended up flat there. Who knows what the hell they were doing? They were up, they were down.
They were flat. They were flat. It's a tough year, a tough time of the year for corn because it's the harvest is pretty much done with, and it's just a tough time for these grains. They tend to be kind of directionless at this time of the year.
Right, and then you've got soybeans, okay, which we've said, I've said 1240 until they get over 1240, we're short. Okay. Now I can make a case to be long, but right now the key level is 1240. If we can't get above it, then they're going lower.
Right.
Okay, that's been the level we've been watching for weeks since I get down here. So that's the key number to watch. And of course, wheat, was up much higher, but it was up on a day, and it came up almost.
Wheat is the best looking of the three, no question.
Oh yeah. Do you see an 8 handle in front of this soon?
I see it, I definitely see an 8 handle. I mean, the one thing that's been screaming at me is I watched that Kansas City versus Chicago wheat spread, and I watched it go from, a 75, 80 cent discount for Chicago, for Kansas City wheat up to a 15 to 20 cent premium, which is the historical norm. And that tells me that consumers are doing hedging now. And, that's a bullish sign for wheat.
Probably, yeah. And again, you came out of this W pattern here on the way up, and here we are. We came down.
The other thing I wanted to mention, you were on soybeans. I have seen a very, very strong move to the upside in the crush spread.
Okay.
So that usually tells us, hey, there's some demand for soybean products, and if there's demand for soybean products, it tends to translate to the soybeans.
Right. And of course, what's the production like in other parts of the world?
Of what? Soybeans or wheat?
Soybeans.
Soybean. I mean, it's Brazil. It's about Brazil now. So it's, they're in that period of uncertainty. The crop is going into the ground. All reports are that it's a good planting season. They get lots of soybeans into the ground. But the weather's going to tell you if the oil seeds are going to grow. And even if they do grow, China is a massive buyer. And if China is a massive buyer, that's big on the demand side.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see.
No, again, that's what happens. And the quality in Brazil is not as good as the quality here. Is that correct?
No, it is not as good. But the Chinese love to buy from Brazil because it's not the United States.
Right. And of course, obviously, what's the real doing right now?
The real is nothing. It's weakened. It's around the 18 level. Nothing that would move markets. Nothing. The next big event in Brazil will be the 2022 presidential election. Looks like they're gonna. Well, Bolsonaro has said that there's 3 things that can happen. Number 1, he wins. Number 2, they put him in jail. Number 3, they kill him. That's what he said.
Okay.
So
that's
could be a volatile election with those 3 potential outcomes.
And what do you think about?
And he also added, if I don't win, it's because it gets stolen from me.
What's your take on the election in Virginia? That's becoming a big story.
That's a close one. Well, here's my take: whoever cheats the best will win.
Yeah. Well,
the spoils go to the most efficient cheater. How's that?
I don't listen. You're not.
It's sad, but it's true, isn't it?
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Okay.
The spoils go to the best cheater. That's it. I mean, based on what's going on in the world and the track record of the current administration, the opposing party should win that election. But the victory will be in the hands of the team that cheats the most efficiently.
Bonds on a 3-year monthly. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna look that up for you. I don't care about the Head and Shoulders, Baron, but I'll look for you because that's the kind of guy I am. That's monthly. 1 month. Okay. 3-year monthly, perfect Head and Shoulders. Okay. I don't see it, but okay. I mean, unless you're talking about this, I don't see it, but if that's what you're talking about, okay. To me, that doesn't look like much of a Head and Shoulders if it is.
That's not 3 years. That's 2 years, right?
Well, yeah, but I got a 10-year chart here. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, again, I don't trade that. I wouldn't trade that bet anyway. It takes too damn long.
The bottom line is, intuitively, interest rates are way too low, which means that bonds are way too high. So
Right.
that's
100%.
that's not fundamentals. That's just kind of common sense, isn't it?
Now, listen,
Sometimes common sense works,
we don't have comments. Well, one of the problems in this country that we lost the art of common sense, which is why so many things that have happened are happening.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have many people that deal in logic or common sense anymore.
Let's go, Brandon.
Exactly. So, in the meantime, do you have any closing thoughts before we go into part number 2?
The closing thoughts are follow the trends. The markets are going to they're going to swing around. And as I said before, we look to make money based on a current market situation. Bubba says it best when he says, a market has to go, to the next level before it goes to the insane point where all the pundits and lunatics are calling for it to go. So we try to capture more. By capturing all the little pieces, they add up to more than just capturing a long-term trend. And when you try to capture a long-term trend, sometimes you get killed. So, stick with the program.
Right. Well, I mean, again, that's always the way, and it's hard to do, but that's where the mental side of the business comes in.
It's interesting. You say it's hard to do. It's hard to do something that's easy. It's actually easy to do if you follow the rules. It's actually a no-brainer, really, because you're just acting on signals.
Well, I agree, but
but it's hard to do because it's hard to retrain yourself to put your ego aside and to put, your
emotions aside,
your emotions and your want to be right, your need to be right, and to feed that. So it's easy, but it's hard.
Exactly. Okay, I'll give you a 5-minute break, Ken. Anyways, so look, we've agreed that things are whacked. Okay, we've agreed that we shouldn't have the inflation that we have, but it's here. Okay, again, you can say it doesn't exist, you can say it's transitory, but when you go to the bagel shop, you get a dozen bagels and pay 10% or 12% more than you did last week, and you go to the gas station and pay twice as much you paid last year, and I go to McDonald's, you go
to a restaurant and a New York strip is $68.
Oh, listen. An egg McMuffin and a hash brown. I almost fell out of my car. I had to go to the doctor for blood tests. I had a taste for an egg McMuffin. I go to McDonald's, and I haven't been there. I haven't been there for a long time. And they go $7. I go, you nuts? $7 for an egg McMuffin and a hash brown.
How about when we went to speak at the Money Show? We were coming back.
Oh,
we get a Popeye chicken sandwich, and we go, and you can't even go into the place.
Right? They got no help.
They got no one working.
Right. So, all right. Now, let me stop this, and we're going to start the next recording. Hold on 1 second. Let me let my girlfriend speak to me. Okay, thank you. And let's get the next one going. All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome aboard to the Monday Night Strategy Call. And of course, we've kind of changed this into a 2-hour extravaganza or longer, and it's kind of on a different schedule. But basically, we start about 4:30 Eastern and end about 6:30 Eastern. But in the meantime, hear no inflation, see no inflation, and speak no inflation. How's that?
It looks good. Which one is? Well, that's Jenny Yellen. That's Jerome Powell, and that's Lael Brainerd. And we're in the next slide should be with the head out of the ground, it'd be Jack Dorsey. But you got to put a beard on the turkey.
Right, exactly. So. In the meantime, look, this is what you got, and you may not understand it fully right now, but the market is always right. We say this and repeat this on a weekly basis. Look, if whatever you think, you're wrong, the market's right. Okay, again, you can't argue with the facts, and of course, if they get their way and they start marking the market, okay, you got real problems. Okay, taxing you on mark to market. Okay. Just now bought 2 New York strips, $10 a pound. Wow. Which new Fed is? It's going to be Lael Brainerd, who Annie and I believe. Okay, which is the most dovish of all. In the meantime, as I always give you what I'm thinking.
By the way, not just dovish, but woke.
Yeah, woke, dovish, and full of a cancel culture. So perfect. Change everything. We can erase all of our bad history because we don't have them. It's wonderful.
We'll go live in the metaverse.
Yeah, I'm going to the metaverse soon.
I told Julie today, I said, let's go on vacation. We'll go to the metaverse.
So new highs once again. Again, we're not surprised. We talked about that there would be new highs in the market. It shouldn't be shocking. Okay. We mentioned that we expected it, and here they are. Okay. Now that's only so far the Dow and the S&P, but the Nasdaq's not far behind. And let's see if the Russell finally breaks out of this 1-year consolidation pattern. Inflation explodes, but the party in power doesn't care. Okay, now you can be a defender of them all you want. That is as clear as can be. As Andy put it, they own it. Okay.
They own it. By the way, the question is, when is the new Fed head being announced? And it was supposed to be before Labor Day, which is in early September, but obviously the White House calendar is on a different schedule.
Well, he's on a different schedule. He's a Walmart greeter walking him to Target, right? Anyways, they don't care. They could solve all of these problems with one thing. Okay, but of course they wouldn't do that. God forbid they should do that. And I don't necessarily agree with this, but this was a headline I caught. Okay, port congestion could be worse than the Lehman crash.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm saying I'm giving disclosure before I say it.
Yeah. But by the way, it's a title you saw, and as we always say, titles. Why do people? I'm a writer, okay, so you write titles for shock value. That's why that title was there.
But it is a huge problem.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
And believe me, you're going to be paying a hell of a lot more for your Christmas presents, and they haven't started raising prices yet because they don't have the goods yet. Okay, but this is what I love, Andy. In California and in Chicago, they decriminalized shoplifting.
Oh, I know.
I mean, can you imagine? You can go steal whatever you want now because there's no crime for it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, isn't that wonderful?
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Be right back. I'll be back in a second.
Go ahead. They hit a store in Chicago for about 10 grand the other day. No criminal, nothing. There's no issue. Okay. There's no big deal. So I don't know. I can't. I don't know. It's scary. Okay, as we continue to let in so many undocumented people, numbers of number, and then we've got the sanctuary cities to go along with it. None of it's any good when you look in the future. Okay, and of course that's one of the reasons we hedge. And of course, next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, is the new class starts. So if you want to join us, or if you've been a member already, you get to come back. But again, I urge everybody to make sure that they get themselves hedged because I think it's extremely important.
This is the most important time to hedge in probably our lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a very, very scary time in general. I don't preach fear, so I'm not going to do that. But I do think that protection is easier, and then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, it's a very scary time in the markets. I mean, again, this is what we're talking about. It's very scary out there because there's just so many things that are wrong, and there is such an easy solution. I mean, we cover every week three or four stocks that could help solve a lot of these problems, but we just refuse to do it. Okay. Well, listen, I screwed something up here. Okay. So the call always starts with the words of wisdoms, and of course, Connie, who under the weather still was able to get me the words of wisdom, which is check your trades not once but twice. Remember, it's your money. Okay. It's not anybody else's money. You're trading to benefit yourself. You're investing to benefit yourself. Make sure you have on what you want. Okay. Make sure you've taken care of all the steps and you've checked it to make sure. Okay. And the words of wisdom. Now this is pretty sad, and it's hard for me to show this one, but Fauci's an evil person. Hope you don't have any beagles. And of course, if you saw, they were experimenting on beagles, and of course, I think the beagles are better than most of the people that are in Congress and the Senate. So, any thought to that, sir?
I'm voting for a beagle next election.
No,
That's a sad. That's for a dog lover. That's a very sad.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Walgreens closing 9 San Francisco stores. They can't get any help either. Okay, My wife is a pharmacy tech for Walgreens, and they're always short help, but they don't want to pay overtime.
Could you imagine that people are walking just in and they just fill their baskets and walk out? That's unbelievable.
They do that. They do it all the time.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, there's no crime for it now. What do you think is going to happen? Okay.
Yeah, it's anarchy.
Well, we're headed there. We're headed for another revolutionary war.
That's anarchy. That's anarchy. And then the individuals will start taking the law into their own hands,
And then you have real problems.
So in the meantime, I've been bitching for an hour, but I get one more. And why can't we see what's right in front of us? This is, I mean, it's almost been the topic of the whole day. I mean, many of the world's problems, not just the United States, but many of the world's problems can be solved by the administration that's in power right now. Okay. But they decided to give up all of our power to Saudi Arabia, to Russia, to China, turn the pumps on, let them go back to taking care of production and lower our costs so that we can get through this time. Okay, and wean ourselves into a greener environment instead of trying to do it all at once with money that we don't have. Okay, I mean, to me, it's so angering when I even think about it. I can't stand it. Okay, but anyways, that's my bitch, and I'm sticking to it. And of course, now we get to the actual markets and what happened today, and the Dow Futures, which we use for the Dow, Yankee Michael, new highs. Well, hey, no surprise. Is it new highs because they're doing well, or is it new highs because they keep pumping up the money supply? Okay, that's always the question. And I don't know how.
Inflationary environment, everything gets more expensive, and that goes for stocks too. Look, Tesla rose to over $1 trillion valuation today.
It's the woke. See, I was infected in the Western world, especially English-speaking world. Yeah, I think it's infecting everywhere. I think it's a problem. In the meantime, I think you're probably looking at 35.2 is support. There is no resistance right now. It's new highs. So what can I tell you? I'm not going to give you some formula. So we'll stop here. This will go. It'll go until it doesn't, and then when it doesn't, it'll reverse. Okay, and that's all. It'll go up until it doesn't. And the S&P, Echo Sierra, same thing. Okay, this has been actually the best acting almost all the way through and continues to make new highs again. Okay, and people will look at the volume, doesn't matter. Again, if you're short, at the end of the day, when they mark your portfolio, it ain't good. Okay, so there's no reason to fight it. Here, I'm going to say probably, bless you, 4,500 is the buy area. And again, we'd only be buyers. We're not going to be sellers here regardless. Okay. The Nasdaq, November, Quebec, not new highs yet, but we're now within 1% of all-time highs, approximately less than 1%. So again, would it be a surprise if we got there tomorrow? Well, I know Facebook's earnings came out today. I don't know. Did you guys see that dip in the market at 304? Right there. Okay, that was on Facebook's earnings. I don't know what they're doing now, but in the meantime, could we get there tomorrow? Sure, you could get there tomorrow. I mean, you were up 200 today. Okay, why can't I go up another 200 tomorrow? In the meantime, I would say probably 15,300 is about the support, and resistance for now is going to be the high, which is, let's say, 15.7ish. But I would not be a seller there. We are long. We remain long. Okay, and the Russell Romeo Tango Yankee is again still in this pattern. Okay, now it is trying to break out. Remember, we've drawn this. We haven't been able to break out of any of these. So right now the Russell is going to be 2,200 to 2,360, because inside of this range there isn't much to say. Right now it's at resistance. We're still long it. Okay, but it's really just spinning its wheels with inside. It's like in quicksand that doesn't sink all the way down, just kind of churns back and forth. And right now, so it's a big range, but again, it's a tormenting range. Okay.
But also, listen, the Russell reflects the problems that smaller businesses are facing. For the employment front, so you're going to the big caps, the Dow, the tech companies, the S&P 500. you're seeing these go to record highs. The Russell is a different kind of animal, and it really reflects the employment problems, rising costs, all these things that affect businesses with smaller market caps.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's correct. I mean, they're mostly U.S. companies, and they're going to be, a direct correlation to what's going on. And again, that's why they can't seem to get, their heads out of their, what. In the meantime, as we go on, and of course, we are in the midst of earnings season. Apple, which has earnings this week, Alpha Papa Lima, and we are long Apple. We're long Apple, okay, and of course, it looks like it's trying to get through that 150 level. It's kind of failed there a couple of times, but to me, this looks like it's about probably 145 to 150. I would not be a seller at 150. It's only a resistance level that it should take it out, okay, based on the trend. And if it doesn't, then it could reverse from there, okay, but that's what you'd be looking for. And AMD, well, actually, I added a new one this week, Ken. AG I'm putting in. We had silver for a while, SLV, but I always hated it. But this can be a pretty wild little turkey. Okay, so I'm going to add it in and see how it goes. AG Alpha Golf. It's a silver ETF. Okay, and I think that we'll watch it for now, but certainly
isn't that a mining stock?
Yeah, First Majestic.
Yeah,
I think that right here, like 1340 is some resistance, but if it breaks out, it could go easily to $17-18.
Yeah, you have to remember these silver mining stocks, they'll outperform on the upside, they'll underperform on the downside. So
yeah, I mean,
we like silver here, we're long silver here, the trend tells us silver, so why not? This is like the beauty of a stock like this is it's kind of a leveraged product without the time decay that
right.
a lot of leveraged ETFs suffer from, so I like that.
Yeah, so we're going to watch it, but certainly, I'd be a player somewhere, maybe 13, maybe even in here. If it breaks out, I'd probably be a player as well. But AMD, Alpha Michael Delta, and of course, we're along this, and it continues to break out. Okay, and of course, new highs. So now, what's next? Well, I think you got 120 support. Okay, and again, resistance. What do you want me to tell you? Okay, 122. Again, I'm not selling it. Okay, I will not short it. Unless it gives me a reason to do so, and that would take a hell of a blow off to the upside for me to even think about it. And or it has to reverse. Now remember, the algorithm itself also continues to roll up, and the faster the stock goes up or the future goes up, the faster the reversal point rolls up with it. So we do capture a large part when we're going well. And of course, so here again, probably 116 and then 122 is some resistance that we're going through right now. But I wouldn't, again, I'm not looking to sell. 116 support is what I'd be looking for. Bravo Alpha. And of course, we're long this now as well. And it had a nice little pop, and now it's kind of curling off. And again, it's resisting right where you might have thought it would have, which is what we said, 180-ish. So here we are. And again, I would say I would make this 170 to 180. Okay. And we're already long. We're long from much lower. So now if we can get through, again, we could see, this could pop or it could fail. I mean, that is what's that, babe?
The Munger pop.
So you can have, they can do a couple of things. They can either break, they can rally, or they can sit in consolidation. Right now, 170 to 180. Okay. Bido, which is the new one we added last week, and that's just the new Bitcoin soup or whatever it is. I think this is more direct. Is that correct?
Futures based.
Okay. So listen, it's just kind of hovering around that 40. Interesting. It has not done well the last couple of days, especially with Bitcoin up pretty big today. But hey, again, I can't. This is telling you, more of the future, and it takes into consideration the backwardation or contango and what they expect down the road when you're tying to a future. So we'll see. Again, we don't have anything we can do here yet because it hasn't developed anything yet, and it's really too new to get too early involved.
It should develop well because the volume's been pretty healthy.
Yeah. 20 million. It was kind of, it's interesting how it's come down the last 3 days. So we'll see.
Yeah.
BitQ. Now, see, here's the difference. Now, here's BitQ, Bitcoin soup, as Andy so lovely calls it. And it's up trying to take out the highs again. Okay. So now we'll see. This is coordinating well with Bitcoin itself. Okay. And now to me, I'm looking at this, 25 or 26 is support. And right up here, about 28 is going to be some resistance. Now, I am not going to short it. This is, we cover this. Okay, honey, feel better, Connie. Okay. We cover this so that for those who don't want to own Bitcoin or get involved in the wallets and other stuff and don't want to trade the future, we have a few stocks that we use that are direct representatives as well. Okay. So in the meantime, 25 to 28. Okay. And full disclosure, I own this. Okay. I'd like to own my retirement company. They wouldn't let me buy it there. Anyways, CGC, Charlie, Golf, Charlie, we remain short. Now, this is starting to make, to me, some reasonable bottoming action. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, as we always say, this is a bet on federal legislation to approve marijuana. To me, it's like just range trading and kind of boring, but we are bumping up against that, 12, what is it, about 1280 level or so?
1350, 1450, and support is about 1280.
No, the support, I mean.
Yeah, about 1280. You're right.
I think it's looking okay. The problem for me is the cash burn on these companies. Biden administration has bigger fish to fry than marijuana here. And I'm not even sure he wants to legalize marijuana. I think he's going to give it to his buddies who own the bigger companies.
Yeah, you said that. I mean, Altria or what, so, but in the meantime, here's what I'm seeing. Just again, we're short this in the portfolio. We have it in one portfolio. But this is a gambling stock if you want to play this space, the marijuana space. And I've seen some better price action recently. I'm not making any predictions, but remember, things will show up in the tape or in the market, okay, long before they hit the news cycle, okay, because the insiders will be buying already, okay. Again, I've seen a little bit more positive action recently, okay, not enough to change anything, and not that it means anything, but that's something that, always makes me wonder, okay, and that would be that something might.
It's a very nice consolidation pattern, Bubba, no question. And the longer it goes on, the bigger the move outside of it is going to be. But like you said all along, this thing needs news.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the news will show up in the price, and it's been some action. We'll see. Right now, again, we're short, but for those who aren't in the portfolio with it, it's strictly a gamble, and I would only be a buyer at this level if I were looking for a gamble trade, because obviously you're betting on marijuana being legalized. Chewy, Charlie Hotel Whiskey Yankee, we do cover this, and right now we're still short this, and we're up at this upper end of the range. And last week we said 62 to 68. Well, here we are up at 68. They have earnings in a couple of weeks, I think. But in the meantime, look, the trend is lower. This is really in a consolidation pattern right now, and it could break out to the upside. No question about it. I mean, Andy and I both use it. We both like it, and they're a great company. But that doesn't mean it has to go up today.
Right. The stock collapsed after the last earnings. So I will say that we talk about action on the last stock, on the marijuana stock. The price action here I kind of like, because I kind of like this business. So you had a negative earnings surprise last time. I think a positive earnings surprise could send this right back to the highs.
It could. Again, we'll see when they come out. We'll see what our position is. Right now we're short, but that can change, in a day, and who knows. But in the meantime, 62 to 68. In fact, I would even go one step further, 64 to 68. Okay. Coin. Well, there you go, baby.
I'm loving this one. I like this one.
I know you own it. Okay.
This one I like. This is the pick and shovel play.
Yep.
This is a classic breakout.
Yep. And now 300 becomes support. And now the next target would be probably, 360 would be your next.
I was going to say 350, 360 zone.
Yeah, close enough, right?
Yeah.
350, 360 is your next resistance. Now, we don't carry this in any of the portfolios, but Andy owns it and I own it. So, we're we hedge against it, but in the meantime, it looks pretty good. And of course, it's directly related to the industry. Not only does it benefit from the buyers and sellers, but it will benefit from business as they get busier, they get more commissions.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Okay. So 300.
It's a very simple business model. You think of an old deli where they slice the corned beef very thin. It's kind of every time it trades, they take a slice.
Right. You think Amazon is cutting the Chewy's business? Could be. But you know what will happen eventually, if they really want it and they want to get into that business, they'll take them over.
Yeah, and right. And the other thing is Amazon, the one thing that Chewy has, and we know this because we're customers of Chewy has the best customer service of all of these things.
Yes.
It's incredible customer service. So, that does go a long way with customers.
Yes, 100%. They've got a great staff. They know they have it in their computer, but they know your pet's name, all the good stuff. Okay. In the meantime, Curl F. This is just another potential gambling stock. This is a retail chain for marijuana. Again, we don't assign these levels.
This looks worse than Canopy, huh?
Yeah, but it did have a big pop. It's interesting. It popped to 1150. Okay, not on a lot of buy-in, but look, we'll see. This is a retail chain, and they got to be going through a bigger cash burn, right?
Yeah,
because they got to have those big retail rents they're paying as well. So, again, all we're saying with these is if you believe that there's a chance that pot will get legalized, then you would be looking to buy one of these because these will go through the roof if they become federally legal, where they can actually use banks and do all the good stuff that every other business.
Absolutely, before they run out of money.
So, and then I also believe that more than likely, the reason that they have not been legalized yet is because they're waiting for Altria and those big companies who support the government, to get involved so they can benefit from the real legalization, not the little guys. So we'll see. DraftKings, Delta Kilo, November Golf. And of course, we do trade this in our portfolios and we are short this. Look, I own it. I love it. I use it. Okay. I think it's a great app. I think there's only good things coming for them in the future, but obviously the market at this point does not agree. Okay. I think 45 is, 45.50 is probably pretty good support, but the trend is down and it did break from consolidation to the downside. Okay. Now, what does that mean for tomorrow? And what does that mean for 10 years from now? I think 10 years from now, I only see the growth in the gambling industry. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. And I think this stock will be great in 10 years. But for now, we follow the trends because we don't know where the next $20 on this stock is.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you go back to 42, it could make new lows. I mean, again, we don't know where it's going from here, but from a trend trading, we're shorter. And right now, the levels would be probably 45 to 48. Okay, and right now you'd look to be a seller. Again, I own it, so I'm just giving you full disclosure. Okay. Fast, excuse my goodness, there's an ETF on steroids that we're long and continues to go higher. Okay. I mean, here we're now at 150. Okay. I mean, this is incredible. Okay. It just goes up and up and up. And of course, this is directly correlated to the banks. And of course, I think that's also a sign, Andy, that tell you the bonds are right and they're going to have to force interest rates higher.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, banks, this is gold. What is this? JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. This is, all the heavy hitters in this thing. It's leveraged, so it's juiced. It's a great sector.
A big breakout in consolidation.
They're magnets for money.
And by the way, okay, this is a very similar pattern to the Russell, which is why you'd expect a big move one way or the other eventually. Now again, it doesn't have to be tomorrow.
Right.
But that's what you're expecting. It could be either way, and that's what we'll find out. But in the meantime, it did break out big to the upside, continues to go. And here, I mean, all I can say here is I'd be looking to buy it at 140. Okay, I'm not a seller at any price. Okay, Facebook, what are they doing on earnings tonight, son?
I didn't see that.
I'm going to look right now. I'm going to look at Thinkorswim because I don't know how to get it's 334 right now. Okay, 334 in the aftermarket. Look, okay, we've been short Facebook. Okay, and here it is on some support. It did bounce. Notice it came down and bounced right up. That was the big move at 04. And you saw it, for now, until proven otherwise, I'm going to say that this is 320 to 340. Okay. And we're short. Okay. Again, that's all I can really say. We're short, and that's where we stand.
It's a tough stock to call because they got problems, but they make a fortune.
335 F. Thanks, honey. Appreciate it. So at the end of the day, we'll see. And again, there's some things going on, but they do make nothing but money. And remember, anybody who's a member of Facebook is the customer, is the product, not the customer. First Solar, Foxtrot, Sierra, Lima, Romeo. And we're long this as well, and it is breaking out as suspected. And, it looks to me, you got 107 support. And, where we can go, probably 112 would be the next major resistance, maybe 110, maybe right where it's at. So we'll see. We're still long it. Again, I'd only be looking to be buying, and I'd be looking at about 107, 107.50 to be a buyer. And suddenly, GDX, Golf, Delta, X-ray, as Andy so promptly put it back, when it decides to go up, it's going. And of course, it's gone up, 15%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, leverage is a beautiful thing, and miners have leverage. And the beautiful thing about miners and GDX is that there's no time decay, because this is not a leveraged ETF. It's leveraged naturally because the gold mining business is leveraged to the price of gold.
So great hedging stock. I agree. Okay. Do you think this is the annual year-end rally? I don't think. Okay. I just look. Okay, and I read the price action.
He reacts.
To me, in Yiddish they call them bubby mices. Okay, if you followed every one of those stories that they told you, sell them and go away, you'd be broke. Okay, so for me, I'd be looking to buy this potentially at 33. Okay, I may buy it right here. Again, we don't carry it anywhere, but we've started to cover it here. It's a smaller way to play gold. Goldman Sachs, right up at the upper end of consolidation. We're still along this, and of course 420 looks like resistance. This is looking like probably about 408 should be pretty solid support, 408 to 420. But again, I'm not selling it at 420. Remember, okay, I give you the resistance where it might slow down, but if we're long, I'm not going to be a seller. Okay, but that's where I would suspect you might see some slowdown in trade. And you might see a little bit of a pullback, which would give you a buying opportunity. India Whiskey Michael, obviously the Russell, same as the pair I just talked about, but again, it's just up against this level. And again, we are long this, and of course we're coming up to 230. I'm going to call this 226 to 232. Ken, 226 to 232. It's been in these wicked ranges or whatever they are, just really going nowhere, but it is starting to climb a little bit. And just the fact that this bottom, now we have a new bottom, and maybe if this turns out to be another bottom, you will get the breakout to the upside. So we'll see. Mara, look at Mara go. Look at this. How's it been going for this, Colonel? Okay. How's the trading been in Mara? Look at this. We were just talking about it was 30. Oh, now it's 55. Okay. This is, directly correlated to Bitcoin. It's a miner of, we can't remember which one is which, but Riot and Mara. But in the meantime, this is approaching its all-time highs in about 20% or so, right?
Well, it should be because Bitcoin.
I understand, but Riot's
it's looked better than Riot for a while.
It's twice the price of Riot right now. How about that?
Right.
Riot is nothing like this. Tell me what the difference is. Okay, I don't know. So I'd love to know. We'd love to know what the difference are. In the meantime, 50, to 55. But certainly, again, I wouldn't be selling that. I don't short Bitcoin products without some kind of upside leverage on it. Okay, that's just me. I don't feel like it. There's certain things I don't like to get involved in, and things I have zero control over that trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I just assume be long if I'm going to be in. Okay. But if you can tell me why is nothing like this, I'd love to know, please. Okay. In the meantime, NEO, November, India, Oscar, we are long. And, suddenly, China, as we talked about a couple of times, China was going to might see some value shopping, some value buying, possibly
bargain hunting.
bargain hunting, and this might be it. It could be the real deal. I
Yeah,
mean,
when the rest of the market gets so expensive and you got new highs and new highs and new highs, people look for value, and there is value in the Chinese market if you trust the Chinese government.
right. And now I have no, I own this because, I thought it was a shot, but at the end of the day, we're long it. And again, right now it's like 38 to 42, and we'll see if we can break above 42. I mean, listen, it's been as high as I think in the 60s, I think. Yeah. So we'll see. Nougat, again, as we talked about, we said these are the ways that this was an opportunity last week at 50, if you potentially wanted to buy this. Okay.
This is double the risk of GDX.
Right. And of course,
this does suffer from time decay.
Now, certainly, if I were looking to get in, I would look at 5250. And this is a play on gold, or the miners of the precursor to a bigger move in gold. Again, I'm not advocating you buy or not. This is just one that we watch, and it's some that many like to trade. And this is not a long-term hold, no matter what.
No,
this is going to be worthless. If you just look back, you can see it goes up.
Your chart. That's the one you want to show.
85,000 was the high, approximately.
So short term.
Right. This is a day trade, 2 days, 3 days, whatever.
Right. A week. I always limit these to a week.
Okay. And in the meantime, for today, 5250 to 50. Actually, I'm going to go to 60. 5250 to 60. Okay. NVIDIA, November, Victor, Delta, Alpha, and of course we're along this as well, and it's up pushing to new highs. This is an animal, right? It can really move.
They make those beautiful chips, and let me tell you, I make a lot of jokes about the metaverse, but this
takes a lot of chips from the metaverse. So
this is a company that will make a fortune from the metaverse.
That's right. 225. I'd like to be a buyer. I'm a seller at no point. Penn, Papa, Echo, November, and of course, we are now long Penn after the big rally, and it's come down a little bit. But again, it's kind of in this uglyish range. It's really probably 70 to 80. Okay, we're kind of mid-range right now. Okay, again, this is in the gambling space too. The only difference between this and DraftKings is this is horse racing versus fantasy. But if you've been to a casino recently, they're unbelievably packed. These apps are unbelievably packed.
I have to tell you, Julie and I went down to Caesars this weekend. We had to meet some friends for dinner. Bubba, in my 10 years here, I have never seen Caesars Palace so crowded.
Really?
Never. Unbelievable.
So there you have it. So at the end of the day, whatever they're doing now, their profit should be good. And of course, many of the casinos are waiting for Macau, but that's not Penn. Okay, but in the meantime, you're in the mid range, but it's 70 to 80, and we are long. The Qs, Quebec, and of course we're long this, of course, as well. This looks to me probably 373. Okay, and to me, it's the new high. Okay, 384, 383. And again, I'm not a seller. I would suspect there'll be a little bit of resistance around 379, but to me, all signs point that this is going higher. Okay, and higher it'll go until it doesn't, and we'll see where it goes. Riot, and this is again interesting how Riot has really struggled in this period. While they were both. Riot was at one time 20% over. Now it's 50% under. Okay. And somebody said there's no comparison. I don't know what the difference is. So in the meantime, obviously, this is stuck in, for whatever reason, it is not benefiting at all from the Bitcoin market.
Yeah, this is dead money here, as far as I'm concerned, because when you expect a stock to do something because it reflects an underlying market and it doesn't, it's time to put it on the shelf.
Right. So you can look at this. 30 looks like some pretty heavy resistance. 2750 to 30. Again, I'd be afraid to be too short this. And again, the options are very expensive.
By the way, the only reason we'll continue to follow this stock is because it is a very nice comparison to Mara, And who knows? It could take the leadership role again, but the technicals will tell us all we need to know.
Right. Exactly. So Roku, Romeo, Oscar, Kilo uniform, and we are long Roku, and it popped, and of course it came back off of it. So here we are. I'm looking at 320 as support. To me, it's 320 to 350 for right now. Okay, the real question is going to be, can it break above this trend and out of this consolidation package? That's really what it's going to come down to. Okay, can it get out of this get out of this range and break to the upside? Because obviously that's what we'd like to see. But in the meantime, 320 to 360. The SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee, new highs. We're long. To me, I'd look at probably 452 as support and no resistance. Square Dance, Sierra Quebec, which we are long, and of course,
Hyperinflation man.
yeah, well, he's a pretty smart guy, I gotta say.
He is a very smart guy. Don't believe me. I have a lot of respect for him.
And
I
we're on
don't
the
agree with him politically, but other than that,
of
I have a lot of
course.
respect for him.
We're on the top end of this here, okay, and in the support level, and to me it looks like it's 252 to 270. Okay, Tilray, which is our other pot stock, and again, it had a little bit of excitement, and now it's done every time, flailed away. We don't put levels here, but again, you're only trading this, and to me, out of the ones we cover, this could be the best one because they've got both Canadian companies and United States companies. And I think they both benefit should that be the case. Okay. So again, but I'm not advocating you by any of them. You're purely gambling if you do. Okay.
Hey, over the last months, we've been watching these stocks are like watching paint dry.
Exactly. So Tango, Quebec, again, very much like the ETF represents. 140 to 145, but actually it's probably 140 to 150. And I'd expect this to make new highs. And I would not be surprised if they were made tomorrow. I'm not predicting so, but I would not be surprised. Okay. Tesla, which we don't trade anymore, but look at it. Boom. Okay. Like a rocket, as Andy called it a few weeks ago. Looks like it's going back to the highs.
Boom.
And what were the highs here? Is this new highs? No shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, $1 trillion valuation, baby.
Good. That's a great car. But in the meantime, look, I don't know, 950 to be a buyer, I suppose, or let's take the blow off trade and short it. Okay. Now, if you're going to short it, my only recommendation to you is to do it through. I don't give levels on Tilray, Ken. If you're going to short it, I would only do it through selling call spreads. Okay.
And wear a helmet.
Well, I mean, the call spread, you know exactly what the risk is.
Right. No, I know. I'm making it.
I know. So, and then VIXY, VXX, Victor X-ray X-ray, we can remain short this. I'm getting closer to taking time to gamble. We're short it in the portfolios. It's going down. 22 is now a resistance. And God knows where it's, the next low is where it's going to reverse split again.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Okay. So 22 resistance. Win Whiskey Yankee November kind of stuck around 90. Notice that we said watch 90 last week. Here we are, stuck at 90 again. Really, this is probably 90 to 100. Okay, I think it looks much better. I think it's recovered. I think you've got to watch either 90, 96 first probably. But in the meantime, we're long this as well. So we'll see. XBI. X-ray Bravo India, it continues to hover at around this 124. It's had a couple of pops, but basically nothing has changed. It's like 122 to 128, which is what we've said for a couple of weeks, and that has not changed. And Zoom, which we got long today, okay, but we were short. And again, it is breaking out towards the upside. Okay, so this is, again, what you watch. This is when you're reading the tape or you're reading the levels, okay, that you understand that now you're at a key spot here. If it does continue to break the upside, now we know the algorithms are long rate. So based on that, we should assume it's going to break to the upside, which should take us at least to, 315. Okay. So right now, big range, but 270 to 315 or so. Hertz purchased 100 Teslas. Not bad. Okay, not bad. So in the meantime, look, again, the markets are, fickle. They can they can turn on a dime. Okay, they can do whatever they're going to do. And that's why they're always right. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's your money that is involved in the market. And when it gets marked at the end of the business of the day, you either made a profit or loss. No matter what you thought it was going to do, you either profited or lost. Did you agree with that, sir?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, the market tells us what we need to do. And
100,000 Tesla. I'm sorry, 100,000. You're right. I don't know what I'm thinking. You're correct. I looked at it wrong.
we have to put our trust in the market's trends and follow the rules. And Bubba and I have very strong convictions on a lot of things, but we put them away.
Right.
Because look, the market's right. I'm right sometimes. I'm wrong sometimes. I can always explain why something happened, but predicting the future, market's the best real-time indicator of where the path of least resistance is.
And the key is consistency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Markets are very consistent.
Right. In the meantime, okay, so you got somebody asking about, there's a blow off. Now, again, this looks great from a chart standpoint. If I were trading it, which I don't, I'd be looking for a short-term short and look for it to come back to 72.50 or so. Okay. So
what is that? A REIT?
I think so.
Probably pays a very nice dividend.
Realty income, yeah. So I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
But I'd be looking for a pullback to buy it, either short it and buy it for a pullback, or just wait for the pullback. That's individual's choice. Who is that anonymous? I don't answer questions for anonymous. I think I know who it is, but identify yourself or no more. Okay, I'll do one more for you, but that's it until you tell me who it is.
Reveal yourself.
I think I know who it is. I think it's the guy who always makes the mistake and hits the wrong button, but okay. I'm not gonna, I'll get you in a minute, Tim. I know it's bedtime for you, baby. No, it's work time. What am I talking about? It's work time. You gotta be going to work.
Comment to make on the trend in the Baltic Dry Index with some sort of ETF that reflects the Baltic Dry. Surprised by the big drop during the last 10 days. I think, the BDR, this is dry bulk freight. That if you watch what happened in coal got crushed because China lowered their price. And I think that might have had something to do with the drop in the BDI to some extent. But that, if you look at it over the last couple of months, I mean, this thing went to 5,400, which is ridiculous.
Right. We're gonna look at it in a minute. If I traded this upstart, I'd be a buyer. I'd be looking to be a buyer around 340. Okay, looks pretty good. Broke out, holding, consolidating. Okay, what am I looking at now? BD.
The Baltic Dry Index. There's no ETF that I know of that does the Baltic Dry Index.
Break where
This is a shipping stock. Oh, that's wait, that is an ETF, but it's probably a basket of shippers.
I would say this. Okay, it doesn't look very good. It's very thin. Obviously, you can see by all the teeth holes in there. But if I traded this, okay, and if there were options, the only I would trade if there was options on this. But hold on, I'm gonna look and see. Hell, what the hell? My man's in Australia. I got to help him out. Got to go to work soon. Now, they're not very liquid, so that takes care of that idea. Certainly, I mean, look, it looks horrible at the moment, but this could be the blow-off bottom. And again, I think the shipping is only going up. I'd be looking for a way to buy this myself if I trade it. And I don't trade it, and I don't think I'm going to buy it. Just
shipping is like airlines. It's like the reverse almost. The fuel prices are killing these shippers, but they just get to jack the freight rates up. The airlines don't get that joy as much.
Woke MLB can't cancel Atlanta. I was going to get to your question. I'll get it right now though, because you're here. How could we take advantage of the increase in rock salt?
In rock salt?
Morton's. Morton Salt.
Does that trade?
I think so. I forget. To be honest, I forget, but I think it does actually. Let's see, how do I look it up? But they did. I thought they traded. I don't remember, but I thought they did. Okay. But I don't remember what the symbol is. Let me see if I can get off of Thinkorswim. But I thought they traded many moons ago. Now they may not anymore. No, I guess not.
Morton's Restaurant Group.
No, I know. No, they had Morton Salt was, that's the big salt. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I have no idea. Okay. Road salt. We're always short that anyways. I mean, there's always a shortage of it. Let me rephrase it. Okay. If it snows more than once, we don't have enough. PHO, Papa Hotel Oscar.
Water
ETF. Well, listen, I got news for you. Water, the price of bottled water is going up. Why is that, Andy? Why is the price of bottled water?
They got to do it. They don't desalinate. They got to desalinate. Talk to California.
Right. And it's going up because it takes a lot of money to make those bottles because they come out of fuel.
That's exactly right. Desalinization is the answer to that.
Yeah, we God forbid we would do something good. Let's destroy everybody first, then we can worry about it, right? Okay. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the markets seem and appear to want to go higher. So it is not for us to reason why, it's just for us to follow the trends. Okay. I remember when water was free and you had to pay for pouring. Thoughts on Riot September? Oh, here we go. September 2, Riot did a $600 million secondary offering. It has taken ever since. Besides, this one of Riot's major initial hedge fund investors has reached the ability to start selling shares. I watch this. I know you do. I watch this like every day. I think the market is absorbing the news, shares hitting the market, and this is a great time to buy. But we see some major new funds come out with ownership soon. You see a market maker is sitting on the stock to accumulate. My uninformed observation. Well, that could be very true. Okay, thank you very much for.
Yeah, I mean it's worth. Listen, it's definitely undervalued in that asset class compared to where everything else has gone. And if you're looking for value, perhaps she is correct.
Okay, so Stone Canyon Industries, but more. Okay, so they're a private holding. Thank you. I knew somebody would know. I knew it used to trade.
I like this comment. I remember when water was free and you had to pay for porn.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I like that one. That's a good one.
So, look, again, we're in a much more active market. Okay, we're seeing less of the two-sided action again, which is never good. Okay, so again, we're going up until we don't, and just don't get caught trying to outguess or outsmart the market because you'll end up they'll carry you out.
Right. And by the way, porn is still free. All you have to do is turn on one of the cable news networks.
In the meantime, a little shorter than usual, but obviously not much to cover. We're going up, and we got football tonight. We'll continue our streak. We're going to take the New Orleans Saints for a small, nothing exciting. Okay, after last night's beautiful Indianapolis game. But in the meantime, look, be careful, follow the trend. Make sure
and always remember, listen, complacency, the biggest market moves come when the market's least expected. So as complacency goes back into the markets now, and bullish complacency is going to replace, now October is ending, we're going into November. As bullish complacency comes, I feel the risk goes up. So please think about hedging. Bubba's starting that course. It's the perfect time, if you haven't hedged, to learn how to hedge. And listen, it's a beautiful thing. You get to pick up shares when the market goes down. You get to protect the downside, and you get to participate on the upside. So there's nothing bad about it.
So to all of you, just listen, like I said, make sure you don't leave anything uncovered. Make sure you have nothing short, no naked short options, please. Okay, because you will learn to regret it at some point. In the meantime, have a great week. We'll see you day traders tomorrow morning as we continue. We'll look for 6 in a row and another big day. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks as always. We'll see you. I'll see somebody tomorrow, but next week, next Monday for the call. And until then, thanks, everybody. We'll see you.